Hello guys, we are glad you're still watching. My name is Tracy. I'm here with Duke Uganda, and you're still watching the Duke's Farm. So today we are going to talk about why we do not free range our rabbits, why actually we keep them in the cages. There are different kinds of keeping rabbits. There is a free range system, there is the deep litter system, and of course the cage system. We are going to tell you why we don't free range them.
And for those of you who do not understand these systems, the cage system is just like you see in the background, putting them in the cages. The deep litter system is where somebody builds a structure. For those of you who know chickens or who've watched chicken videos, you will realize that somebody builds a structure and then they just pour their chickens. Then there is a free range where just somebody puts their rabbits or chickens to roam around, to loiter around the farm. Maybe it's a 2 acre or 3 acre. So we are going to talk about the benefits of actually having the cages vis-a-vis or versus having a deep litter or a free range system. And just to be sure or specific, there are people who think that putting rabbits in cages is like torturing them or denying them of their freedom, among many other things. But well, today we want to share with you why, despite all those factors, we chose the cage system over the free range system. And we shall be going into that just in a minute. Now, we're glad you're still watching the Duke's Farm. On this channel, like we said, transparency is #1 priority, and therefore, if you're new, kindly subscribe. Don't forget to follow us on different social media platforms at Dennis Duke UG. Now, as the topic suggests, we are delving straight into that, why we chose the cage system over the free range system, or why we do not free range our rabbits. Yes, honey?
#1, for easy identification. When the rabbits are in the cages, you identify them very well. You know which rabbit to give food, which rabbit you give food just at the particular time, which rabbit has to mate, maybe at a specific time. Which rabbit has to breastfeed.
And that is easy because we've numbered our cages, remember? So it becomes very easy for us to know which rabbit gave birth on which day, which rabbit was served on which day, which rabbit is which month old, because all those particulars are very, very important when you are rearing your rabbit. You know when to take it back, when you should be expecting when it's going to give birth, but also when you are maybe going to immunize a rabbit or when you're going to treat it. So sometimes for easy identification, it is very good that you use the cages over a free range system. Now, in a free range system, rabbits just roam around. Now, imagine a situation where you have maybe roughly around 100 or over 100 rabbits, and some of them are New Zealand white, and you know New Zealand white, it's very difficult. As long as they are in the same breed, it's very difficult for you to identify that now this rabbit is this one, this rabbit is this one. So for easy identification, like how my woman said, it is better you put them in a cage system.
Point #2, why we do not free range our rabbits is because we need to collect the rabbit urine and the rabbit droppings.
And you know that in rabbitry, rabbit urine is very, very important, more so for us farmers who've decided to go organic. Is it organic? Yes, organic farming, where you use the urine as a fertilizer or a manure, but also use that same urine as a pesticide. As you very well know that rabbit urine is a repellent, and I'll be very in a short time or in the meantime doing for you a video on how to actually prepare rabbit urine, but 1 as a fertilizer, but also 2 as a pesticide. But also you remember that rabbit droppings are also very rich in different nutrients that are required by the soil, and also the nutrients which include nitrogen, there is phosphorus, I think, and then there are so many others that I may not be in position to mention as of now, but we all know that rabbit urine and droppings are very key or rich in those nutrients. Now, on a free range system, it is very difficult and very hard for you to actually collect both the droppings and the urine because rabbits are just roaming around. But in this cage system, as you can see in our cage, we've built it in a way or in a system that the droppings and the urine actually flows into this. This I think is called Ngogo in Uganda, a ridge, I think. So it's from this that they drop somewhere we would love to collect it from, and from here we go and prepare it, and we apply to our crops, we apply to our plants, and it's an ecosystem. So the droppings here, we put them in the plantation, and then the plantation gives us the weeds, gives us, you know, the foods that we feed our rabbits. So in a free range system, it's very difficult for you to collect both the rabbit urine and the rabbit droppings.
Point number 3, why we do not free range our rabbits is on the free range system, these rabbits are more likely to get diseases. Since they move on their own, they might eat the grass, the weed that is not good for them.
They might also drink water that is, you know, contaminated or very dirty water, and in turn, they develop some illnesses or some diseases, and boom, before you know it, your rabbits could actually be dying. However, that is not the same with the cage system, because on the cage system, what we do is we give them controlled feeding, controlled water. We have our water system where we monitor everything that goes into the nipples. So they are drinking from a source that we are very, very 100% sure. Now, imagine if your rabbits happen to be, you know, in an area where there is water, contaminated water. The most common one would perhaps be coccidiosis, could be diarrhea, could be bloating, because they are eating on things that are not meant to be eaten by rabbits. And just so you should know, you could lose your rabbit farm in a minute.
Point number 4, why we do not free range our rabbits. On a free range system, rabbits are more likely
to be exposed to predators.
Yes. And those predators,
for example, they could be exposed to rats, to dogs, to snakes, but the biggest predator being
human beings. and human beings may be the biggest prey to the rabbits.
Exactly, predators. And remember, like we said, these are prey animals. They cannot easily fight back sometimes. So if a snake came into your farm, you'd lose hundreds of them. That's if you're on a free range. But in a cage system, at least we monitor them. We have cameras all over, 24/7. We know what is entering into our farm and what is leaving. So we are watching and monitoring the farm. Plus, there are people who work within the farm, within the structures in here. So they are able to monitor down here. Is there anything that could, you know, prey on these animals? So that's a way, in that way we are controlling the likelihoodness of having a predator that could prey on our animals.
And point number 5.
Now, point number 5, why we do not free range our rabbits and why we put them in the cage system is because on the free range system, fine, they are exposed to a lot of food, a lot of weed, among many other things, but that food or that feed may not be nutritious as it is for the case of a cage system. Now, in a cage system, the beauty with the cage system is we monitor everything that our rabbits eat from morning till sunset. Now, the beauty of monitoring is because we now know when to give it the pellets. Now, the pellets have a different source of nutrients that they give to our rabbits. What time do we give them the weed? What time do we give them the hay? What time do we give them the grass? In a free range system, they just eat anything they find, anything they can land on, which sometimes may not be as nutritious as here in the cage system. Now, the likelihoodness of our rabbits becoming obese are limited because we know we are giving them a balanced diet. Now, the only beauty with free range is that they are exercising, so the chances of them growing big or overweight are limited, but the feeding they could be eating may not be a balanced diet to give them all the nutrients that they require. So you may find them, some of them malnourished, as opposed to ones that are in the cage system. So you could weigh in and see which options you could settle for. But for us, we did settle for this, the cage system, because we are able to monitor everything that our rabbits eat.
Another point why we do not free range our rabbits is because of the inbreeding of rabbits.
Now, when you talk about inbreeding of rabbits is where a brother goes to a sister or a sister mates with a brother. Now, that in rabbitry is not allowed because sometimes it could bring deformities. It could make a rabbit give birth to children or kids that are not in good form, and therefore they could die. That is so very rampant in a free range system because you're not monitoring which sister is going out with which brother. However, if it's in a cage system like here, we know we have the records, we know which one was born with which one is their father, and so we avoid that inbreeding of rabbits on a farm. So I hope today you are able to know that on a free range, there are so many advantages, but the disadvantages are way too much as opposed to when you have a battery cage system. The only difference with a battery cage system, or the disadvantage, is they do not roam around as much as they would roam in the wild. However, you can do that here by building a big cage, like say 2 by 2 feet each, both length and width, and the height as well, so that you give them enough room to exercise. Now, last but not least, why we do not free range our rabbits and why we chose to keep them in the battery cage system is because we are able to protect them from very harsh weather or harsh climate conditions. For example, too much sunshine or overheating or rainfall, just in case it happens. For example, if it's in a cage system, it's easy for you to know that now on this cage, I'm going to build a structure that will shield it from one, direct sunlight, because you know what happens when there is direct sunlight. These rabbits could overheat, they could dehydrate, and when they dehydrate, you know what can happen, or what could happen, they could die. Now, when there is too much, rainfall, it becomes very cold. Sometimes these kids, the newly borns, may die because of the too much coldness. So when they're on a free range system, it becomes very hard also to monitor them in terms of weather, in terms of climate. So it is not very advisable for you to keep them in the wild or to keep them on a free range. It's better you house them in a cage system so that you can save them from dying unexpectedly.
And we've come to an end. Thank you all for watching. From me, Tracy, and my husband, Dennis Duke Uganda.
It's a goodbye. Please keep subscribing. Follow us on different social media platforms at Dennis Duke UG.